Oh wow, Three Body Problem. It's based off a series of books, and I don't know how to read. Somebody's read those books and they're gonna see this and they could be like, that silly girl's got nothing in her head but marbles. Spoiler alert, I have no marbles in my head, the doctor's checked. The show flashes back to the Cultural Revolution in China. Yi Wenji sees her dad die, and it is such a gruesome way to start a Netflix original. We're in for some prestige television with this much bleakness right out the gate. Later, she receives the Silent Spring, but the guards find out, so she is hauled off to a giant cable TV dish where she gets all the channels and watches all the TV. Now it's a science base, and her big brain can never leave. They tell her she is there for life. A life sentence of science stuff for a total nerd? She jumps at the chance. She is all in on this telescope life. 2024, Augie Salazar and Jin Ching are sitting at a bar. Nearby, a big dummy is singing I Kissed a Girl badly. Funny karaoke is so funny. American Idol is the best TV show of all time because nothing's more hilarious than laughing at the failed dreams of a person who is singing poorly. In an attempt to pound home how useless and trite music is, a drunk guy tells a couple of very smart women they should sing, but Augie and Jin list off their galaxy brain jobs while staring daggers at him like we are women of science. We're above music, you loser. Get away from us. Then Augie sees cool orange numbers floating in the sky and her whole reality is shaken. Clarence Dashi looks into a series of suicides by scientists who were using their VR headsets. Come on, VR gaming isn't that bad. Just take the helmet off if you get motion sick. No need to prove yourself as hardcore gamers, you're scientists. The show has already established that fun is beneath you. Back to Augie, a woman named Tatiana tries to tell her to quit her job, and Augie is like, are you hitting on me? Because I already shot down that guy at the bar, I'm asexual. Just kidding, only queer shows have asexual characters. The rest only have asexual coded characters. She is straight and will prove it otherwise according to canon. But not according to my headcanon, where she loves garlic bread and random kinks that tend to not lead to sex, though she does have it sometimes because asexuals can have sex, abstinence is different, though the two often overlap. Anyway, back to the actual show. Tati tells Augie to watch the sky tomorrow at midnight, where she sees the sky flicker off and on like a light switch. The whole world does, and it's really cool. I've never seen it done before, and it made me wonder if the whole show was VR. The flickering starts when the clock hallucination counts down, and that kind of tells her someone is playing God in this godless world full of atheism and other cool things like coffee and roller skates. 1970-something. Back in China, Yi is still at her prison/job at the Big Dish, and it dawns on her that the sun is capable of amplifying radio signals. Her boss says no, but she does it anyway. YOLO, am I right? She sends word out to the universe. Yi hears back from an alien that says, shut up, you big dummy, or my people will slaughter you in the octagon. She doesn't care and keeps on keeping on. She even decides that humans can't be saved and sides with their alien overlords. Life in a Big Dish has scrambled the eggs in her brain, and now she's a glorified pod person. 2024, Augie is tired of a floating clock hovering in front of her face at all times, giving her the business, so she shuts down her project like a good little human. These aliens are kinky. They want all the power in this relationship, and it is toxic. Jin learns in VR that the video game world which the aliens are using to explain their three-sun solar system which ruined their lives and ate all their steak has these chaotic eras where everyone dies, unless they turn into shriveled raisins later rehydrated into grapes again. How literal is all of this? The show never tells, never shows the aliens, who do the whole our true form would upset you shtick and represent themselves as humans in the VR game. Jin then hands the headset to Jack, who gets slaughtered for trespassing in the virtual world, which he wasn't invited to. Go away, Jack, we don't want you here. Then Will, who is a skinny British guy full of tired smirks and self-repression, tells Jack he is dying of patriotic cancer. Because this is not ID4, this is the kind of sci-fi with real problems people actually face layered in with some take-me-to-your-leader stuff. The day the earth stood still, more like the day my heart stood still, as the show keeps throwing more and more suffering and tragedy on Will like his name is Job. Back in VR, Jin explains that science is real and everything else is just huckus, and then after saying the soothsayers using superstition to determine where the next chaotic era will occur, she is told to put her hand on the ground to speed up time, and it works. Looks like in VR, science means nothing because there are no rules. The raisins are thrown into the water, pretty young women only because it's time for some PG-13 nudity, and casual audiences thinks men's bodies are gross apparently. Pretty naked women leave the water and then they're frozen to death in an ice age. Playing God is harder than previously anticipated for Miss Science. Jin and Jack go into the game together. Couch co-op. They're in a medieval England, and the little girl who always dies tells Jin she remembers it all, every death, and pleads to be saved this time, which doesn't work. Everyone dies in magma. The world ends. But only after Jin explains they are in a three-body solar system, and that is the riddle of it all, and she is vindicated. That is precisely the case. Stable era. The world revolves around one of the three suns. Chaotic era. The sun gets passed around like me in my college years. Just kidding, I never went to school. At one point in the Armageddon, a horsey burns to death. Not the horsey. Please, not the horsey. Please, no, not the horsey. Anything but the horsey. Even a little ducky or a giraffe, but not the horsey. Please, God, no. A hot girl, and not because of the magma she's walking on, tells the duo they've cracked the three-body riddle and have advanced to level 3. This is a modern talking sim that has numbered stages like an NES game. Stage 3 is set in Xanadu. There is a great human abacus. Damn, this show is horny. Should I even be watching this? Is my boyfriend gonna get mad at me for looking at a human abacus? Probably not. I should be fine. I don't think I'll be crying into a tub of ice cream over looking at a human abacus. We're adults. We know shit happens. He'll forgive me for looking at this massive mathematical orgy of solar prediction. Everyone on the planet is sucked up into the air. All three suns combine their gravitational pull. Is this possible in real life? I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm not gonna start now. So the headset is confirmed to be a way for the aliens to win over the hearts and minds of human gamer girls and bros alike. Level 4 reveals the three-body problem cannot be solved, and the real puzzle is how to save the people of the alien planet. The answer is you cannot. This whole thing is fed to them nibble by nibble in a very cult-like way. Jack peace outs and then is killed. The aliens have not landed, but their cat pets among the ranks of the humans are out to devour the infidels who would rise up against their interplanetary tyranny. 1985, Evans takes Yi aboard the Judgment Day, a big ship that talks to aliens. I'm starting to think this might be a cult. Are there levels, tiers, $1,000 mandatory lunches? These aliens are called Trisolarons, and in case you haven't caught on, they are the antagonists of this TV show. 2024, Da Shi has a gay son. He's playing Mortal Kombat and unemployed, and has a boyfriend his dad hates everything about him. Not the gay part, but the rest of it. He hates his boyfriend, his whole unemployed entrepreneur thing, and worst of all, his trash taste in fighting games. He should be playing Fatal Fury or some vintage SNK fighter from the Neo Geo era, not the latest Mortal Kombat like a damn Gen Zer. Okay, maybe I'm projecting, but still. Remember World Heroes? There's a pirate who threw a pirate ship as a Hadouken? A pirate ship! They just threw it! Or a shark! A shark! Oh sure, he couldn't rip out anybody's spine, but he could make them walk the plank, probably. The Brits arrest Muster the Cold, and Tatiana tries to murder Jin for being a narc. Stitches get stitches, and Jin is no exception. Evans tells a radio that has a robotic alien voice coming from far beyond Earth the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Even though all the aliens do is lie their asses off and disguise themselves, they even lie about never lying. That's some textbook narcissism. Dog grills Yi about the whole ancient alien cult who wants to overthrow the world and who has tasked her with stabbing humankind in the back in exchange for the ego booster of letting her be the galaxy brain who broke bread with the cold, distant alien parasites thing. Yi is unrepentant. Guess calling her alien overlords lord and talking in a bunch of monotheistic cliches doesn't translate to Catholic guilt. Yi says she and Da no longer matter. All that matters is they are coming. Da asks if Evans matters, and she shrugs the biggest shrug to ever shrug. Pretty much Da is showing that he is indeed the bad cop, and Yi says as much. Da says it is impossible to communicate faster than light, and Yi replies, impossible for us. And she says, I wish I could show you what the future looks like. Ooh. Mike Evans on his cult ship is praying to a lord who will not speak to him. I wonder what allegory one could derive in such a one-sided exchange. A show full of smart characters who are atheists, a bad guy who is the lord. I wonder if this would make some kind of statement about claymation? Like maybe the author of these books really thought that Clay Fighter is the best game ever made and it's a hidden gem. No, probably not. Or pizza. Is the show weighing in on whether or not pizza is a good topping to put on a pizza? The old double pizza, twice the dough, twice the sauce, twice the pepperoni. What's not to love? And yet it remains a divisive topic to this very day. As the Judgment Day squirms through a tight canal like a big ship squirming through a tight canal. Augie's nanotech tears the crew and passengers a new one. Everyone gets cut in half. Now see, that's a fatality. Get a job, Dawes son. Work or you are a burden on society. Be controlled through endless toil and labor or you're a worthless little monster. Just kidding, work sucks and everyone is getting exploited. The slicing in half is very graphic and gruesome, and I've never been a gorehound. More like a gore kitty at best. Give me a hard PG-13, I'll squeal like a little Soph, but I'll turn off many horror films with misogynistic overkill and the depictions of violence against women. This is getting serious. I need more jokes. Who wrote this? So these aliens have science fiction-tastic computers. They have 16 gigs of RAM, a solid-state drive, and they can even run Crysis. They cover the globe with a creepy reflection and take over every screen with the following verbose, complex, and highly philosophical message that totally doesn't come across as something Elon Musk would put out while high off his ass in peyote, only to later walk back as a hilarious satire on the billionaire class, looking down on the less fortunate. You are bugs. How rude. Honestly, the moment works. Combined with a dark cloud over the earth and a speech about destroying fact and replacing with faith, killing science, making everyone very confused, breaking everyone's spirits, the whole thing is one of many scenes in the show that Soph, snark aside, is just pulled off perfectly. By the way, I, Sophia, am often known as Soph for short, and only Sophie if you want to annoy me. I, Soph, have no relation to Sophon. I'm not a supercomputer sent to send Earth back to the Stone Age through a series of mockery, gaslighting, and sabotage. Honest. No, I'm serious. Am I a mega hot T-girl? Yes. Am I an alien computer? Probably not. I mean, who can remember being born? I could have been built in a factory in a spaceship and then beamed down to Earth when no one was looking, make my parents adopt me like Superman with boobs. Who's to say, look, there's at least a 61% chance that I, Sophia, so for short, am not a Sophon. I mean, there's only 2 of them and then another 2 on their ship. That's only 4 of them and there's 1 of me. What are the odds? What are the odds that the one me is one of those 4 things? Jin comes up with the Staircase Project. It uses nuclear bombs to push a probe that will sail in the radiation like a 90s action hero, diving a few feet away from an obviously fatal explosion. Will wants booze, but the corner store is out. He wants to reserve 5 bottles of their finest whiskey. The clerk says it is unavailable until the new year. Will says he will be unavailable then as well. All Will has is what he doesn't have, and he's holding on to his love for Jin with all he's got. Everybody's dying, but Will is dying faster than most, so death is on his mind more than most. The Grim Reaper is right around the corner, and he doesn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. No river Styx, no Cerebus, no Elysian Fields, no, for Will there's only standing so far away as to not hurt Jin any more than she's going to hurt already when he's gone. He buys Jin a star. In the hospital, or just in hospital because he's British, Will lays asleep dreaming of being a tiny boy in a big paper boat in the rain. It is a solid representation of dying while sad. He is awakened by his sister who wants the money. The show portrays her as a vulture, and she is. Not because of what she wants, well sort of, but mostly because of how she goes about it. It is a bit of a shakedown, shaking down a thin, polite, dying Tumblr sexy man. She should eat a butt. Will tells his sister, I've never loved anybody to love me back. A few months ago, they would have stabbed me right in my estrogen-filled heart. But now they have a boyfriend who loves me back. Well, now that line doesn't sting the way it would have. Thomas Wade says Project Staircase won't work unless it's just a brain, not a whole person, not enough bombs. Then he has a cool speech about the aliens, pretty much saying they know everything about humanity, all of humanity's art, history, everything, and they have the surveillance of everything as well, but they don't understand what it's like to be a human. They don't know what goes on inside the human mind, so they will send a human mind, a darn smart one as well. It ends up being Will because, of course, he's dying and a main character, so this payoff. Plus, Thomas wants someone who is dying. It just works on so many levels. Honestly, the way this show shifts from storyline to storyline is really good. They keep coming at you from so many angles. It never gets old because they just keep throwing such a great variety of concepts at you in such a short 8-episode season. Da's playing Mortal Kombat. His gay-ass son tells him he's just button mashing and needs to learn some combos. So Da's about as good at Mortal Kombat as I am. Augie leaks through nanofiber research. Does this mean everyone can chop up a ship full of people? I don't know. But it's one of those gotta sacrifice something because that's how writers are taught to write, regardless of how much sense the sacrifice really makes kind of scenes. Like one of those movies where someone pretty much lights $1 million on fire for no damn reason. Okay, to be fair, Augie says this way it will be used for good, for medical purposes and other good guy stuff. However, I'm still not sure it can't also be a little bit like handing everyone a nuclear bomb. There's probably something I'm missing here. Look, a rich white guy who made the cover of Forbes was going to corner the market and use it as nothing but a weapon, and now sky's the limit. Think of all the cool stuff nanotech has done in science fiction. Now it'll all come true. The good and the bad, not just the bad, but it'll all happen on a larger scale. It's complicated. Jin says Will shouldn't be a frozen brain for aliens to poke and prod at. Will's like, nah. I don't want to hurt you by saying I love you, but hurting you by being a frozen space brain, now that's the kind of pain I am fully willing to inflict. He is coming across that way for just a moment before telling her, unburden yourself with that drama-rich secret and say what you mean, Will. Spill the magic beans before your British brain climbs up that beanstalk. Will tells Jin that when you're high or dying, you see people and he really sees her. And he loves her. He finally tells her, it's about time, Will. Damn, the Will storyline is powerful. It's the emotional core of the show. And yes, I am a sap. And yes, I love the romance in a story. Yi is talking to Saul Durand, who is a major character I probably should have been talking about more, but this is a dense story to recap, and it's hard to cover everything. He's yet another really smart, science-minded person in this story, good friends with Will and Jin and Augie, so Yi tells Saul a story that is clearly an allegory for the aliens. Einstein dies and tries to play the violin in heaven. Angels say don't do that, God won't like it. He's a saxophonist. So Einstein plays anyway, because there's actually not much to do in heaven. So God kicks him in the balls, it hurts, even in heaven, and breaks his violin. And the angels tell him, we warned you, never play with God. You get it? The comparison between the aliens and God. The aliens that are called the Lord, and God, which is called the Lord. Do you get that? Were the two threads too far apart to connect? Because I just helped you there. Duran tries to talk Will out of it. He presents some nightmare scenarios, like turning him into a program who can't see, hear, or feel, like an isolation tank. Question goes in, answer comes out, whether you like it or not. Or they bring him back and treat him like a lab rat, torture him for thousands of years, bringing him back over and over. They think of him like a bug. This show loves to come back to the whole bug thing. There is an iPad-type thing where you press the button 5 times to consent to your assisted suicide. Will presses the button 5 times. He is Frodo, sickly, pale, and going places. His bromance with Durand isn't quite as touching as his obsession with Jin. Maybe because he's not very gay? They actually are just good friends. See, sometimes the straights are right. Jin sees Will's head placed into a metal mini-freezer, and it's just so damn sterile and clinical. Bone-chilling. Sawbone's a woman, who then gets murdered by an alien sympathizer, emphasis on the simp. Then Da is all, hey, you need to wear bulletproof vests and stuff now. You're a VIP, very important person to kill. The DK is silent. Jin wants 18 grams of food in the brain capsule, in case the aliens resurrect him upon arrival, and he gets hungry. At the UN, where they plan to the alien invasion by recruiting 3 galaxy brains to each come up with a plan to take down the aliens, because, well, the aliens can't read human minds, so it's kind of like if your brain is big enough to store the entire plan on how to take them down, you can reveal your cards. If it's like a full house or a real straight flush or something, you win, they lose. They named them the Wall Facers, the ancient Buddhist name for meditators. They never need to explain what they do unless they break international law. They can say M. Night made the best take on Avatar ever. They can say the 32X is the greatest gaming console of all time. They can even say Final Fantasy II Japan is the best in the series. Whatever they want, as long as they don't break that international law, they're cool. Jin tells Raj she loved Will. Raj is all, build a bridge and get over it. He's gone. And Jin's all, even Will's creepy frozen brain is more lovable than you, Raj. He's a Tumblr sexy man, and you are not. There's a whole lot of Saul saying he's not a wall facer, or people saying they know, but also he totally is. It has a real, it's not a tumor vibe. This stuff is straight out of Kindergarten Cop. Tatiana snags another VR helmet, and by God, is it an abusive relationship that she's in with these aliens. Fear is most of what she's feeling, but she pushes that little bit of pleasure to the front of her mind and repeats internally that the pleasure's all that there is, like a mantra as she puts that helmet on. They have taken everything from her, and yet she is back in the virtual torture chamber for another 1,000 lashings from her Sky Daddy. Will's brain blasts off into space! San Luis Potosi, Mexico, Augie is handing out nanofiber water filters to filter out pesticides, parasites, bacteria, and everything else that makes the tap so delicious. Soph plays mind games with Thomas, singing her best cover of Every Breath You Take by The Police. See, it's come full circle back to karaoke. Da-Jin and Saul stand in front of a bunch of cicadas. They're noisy, they're annoying, they won't go away. They're just like us, which is the point he makes as well, only with more drinking booze and pouring booze out. Is that the booze Will wouldn't be alive to drink? Looks like whiskey to me. I bet it is.